Hey everyone, welcome back to English with Cheri. I'm Cheri, and today I have my co-host Nick with me. Hey Nick.
Hey, so good to be here. I'm Nick, and I have to say today's topic is one I personally needed when I was learning English.
Right? Same. So today we are talking about how to change the subject in everyday conversation. And this is so useful, like sometimes you're talking about something and you just want to move on.
Or maybe the topic is a little uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. Or maybe you just thought of something totally different and you want to bring it up.
We've all been there. You're in a conversation and suddenly you think, oh, wait, I really need to tell them this other thing.
And then you don't know how to make that switch, right? So today we're going to give you some really natural, everyday phrases that you can use to do exactly that. Change the subject smoothly.
And we're keeping it A1 to A2 level. So these are simple, everyday expressions. Nothing too fancy.
Nothing too fancy, just the kind of things real people say in real conversations. Okay, so let's start with the basics.
So first, why do we even need to change the subject? Like, why is this a thing?
Good question. So in real English conversations, people don't just talk about one thing the whole time. Conversations kind of move around, jump from topic to topic.
Yeah, it's very natural. You start talking about the weather, and somehow you end up talking about your grandmother's recipe for soup.
It just happens, and if you don't know how to make those transitions, you might feel a little stuck, or you might just stop talking because you don't know what to say.
And that's a shame because you might have something really interesting to add. You just don't know the right words to switch gears.
Exactly. So these phrases we're going to teach you today, they're basically little bridges. You use them to move from one topic to another without it feeling weird or rude.
And they're short, like really short. Most of them are just 2 or 3 words.
Which is great for beginners. Okay, so let's get into the actual phrases. And we're going to use examples, of course, real examples.
All right, so the first one, and this one is maybe the most common, is anyway.
Anyway, yes, so simple, right? Just one word.
One word, and it does so much work. So how do you use it, Cheri?
So anyway signals that you are wrapping something up and moving forward. Like, I don't want to talk about this anymore, let's move on, but in a polite way.
Right, so for example, imagine you've been talking about a problem at work. It was a long story, and now you're done. You could say, anyway, enough about work. How was your weekend?
Perfect example. Anyway kind of closes the door on that topic and opens a new one. Very smooth.
And the tone is important too. Like if you say anyway with a small breath or a little pause, it feels very natural.
Yes, that pause is everything. Anyway, let me tell you what happened yesterday. It just flows.
I use this one all the time, honestly.
Same. Okay, next one.
Okay, so the next phrase is by the way. And this one is a little different.
Right, so by the way is what you use when you want to bring up something new, something that's maybe not totally connected to what you were talking about, but you just remembered it.
Like, oh, I just thought of something. Let me throw this in.
Exactly. So, for example, you and your friend are talking about a movie you saw, and then you remembered you wanted to tell her about a new cafe. You could say, oh, by the way, have you tried that new cafe on Main Street?
And your friend won't feel confused. She understands, okay, we're taking a little detour here. We're talking about something else now.
It's a very friendly way to change the subject, and it also shows, oh, I was thinking about you, like this thing reminded me of you.
Ooh, that's actually really sweet. By the way, I saw this and thought of you. That's a whole vibe.
It is. Okay, so just to be clear, by the way is for adding new information, something a little off topic. And anyway is more for wrapping up and moving on.
Good distinction. Both super useful, different situations.
Okay, let's do another one.
All right, the next one is that reminds me, and I love this one.
Oh, it's a good one. That reminds me. So this one is used when something in the conversation, a word, a topic, an idea, makes you think of something else.
Like your brain made a little connection. You're listening to someone talk and suddenly, oh, that just triggered another thought.
Yes, so for example, you're talking about dogs, and someone says, dogs are so loyal. And you think, oh, that reminds you of your neighbor. You could say, oh, that reminds me, my neighbor just got a new puppy.
And it works so well because it explains why you're changing the subject. You're not just jumping to something random, you're showing the connection.
Right. It makes the conversation feel natural, like it just happened organically, not forced.
And it's a great one for telling stories too. Oh, that reminds me of the time I got lost in Tokyo. And then everyone leans in.
Story time. Yes, that reminds me is a great storytelling opener too. Okay, next one. This is one I use a lot in real life. Oh, before I forget.
Yes, this one sounds very natural, like very genuine.
It does, right? Because you're basically saying, I have to tell you this now before I forget. So there's a little bit of urgency.
It makes the other person feel like, oh, this is important, or at least you've been thinking about this.
Exactly. So, for example, you're at dinner with a friend talking about weekend plans, and you suddenly remember you have a message for her from a mutual friend. You say, oh, before I forget, Sarah says hi.
Perfect. And the person feels, oh, okay, we're taking a quick detour, but it's for a good reason.
And you can also use it to bring up something practical, like, before I forget, can you bring the charger tomorrow? Very useful in everyday life.
Oh yeah, that's very common, very everyday. I like that one.
Me too. And notice how all these phrases, they kind of give you permission to change the subject, like you're signaling to the other person, hey, we're going somewhere else now, but it's okay.
That's a good way to put it. You're getting their buy-in. They're, okay, I'm following you. Okay, the next one is speaking of. And this one is a bit like that reminds me.
Yeah, they're similar, but speaking of is more direct. You take a word from the conversation and use it as a bridge.
Right, so like you're talking about coffee and you want to talk about Marco. You could say, speaking of coffee, Marco just opened the coffee shop.
And it works because you took the word coffee and used it as the link. Speaking of coffee. Very smooth.
And you can use it even when the connection is a little loose. Like, speaking of travel, did I tell you about my cousin's road trip? And maybe the conversation wasn't exactly about travel, but close enough.
Right, it's flexible. You just pick a word that's close to what was being said and bridge to your new topic.
I like how all these phrases are so easy to remember. Like they're short, they're conversational. You can start using them tomorrow.
That's the whole point. These aren't things you memorize from a textbook. These are things you hear people say every single day, in shops, at home, at work, with friends.
All right, I think we've got a few more to cover.
Okay, so this one is a little more direct, and that's fine. Sometimes you need to be more direct. The phrase is, can we talk about something else?
Yeah, this one is honest. You're basically saying, this topic isn't working for me. Let's move on.
And it's not rude when you say it kindly, like with a gentle tone. Can we talk about something else? This is making me a little stressed.
Or even simpler, can we talk about something else? I don't really want to think about that right now. Very honest, very human.
And people actually appreciate honesty. They'd rather know than feel like you're uncomfortable and not saying anything.
Totally. And sometimes you just need a lighter conversation. And that's okay too.
Okay, one more. This one is very versatile. Actually.
Oh, actually is so useful. Like, it does a million things.
It does. So when you use actually to change the subject, you're sort of redirecting, like, wait, let me tell you something different, or let me correct the direction of this conversation.
Like, actually, I wanted to ask you something. And then you go in a completely different direction. Very smooth.
Or, actually, that's not the only thing I wanted to talk about, and then you shift.
I feel like actually makes you sound thoughtful, like you've been considering something, and now you're bringing it up.
Yes, it's a very natural word, and it's everywhere. Movies, podcasts, everyday conversation.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap. We covered a lot today.
Yes. So the phrases we talked about are anyway, for wrapping up a topic and moving on. By the way, for bringing in new or off-topic information. That reminds me, for when one thing makes you think of another. Oh, before I forget, for something urgent or important you remembered, speaking of, for building a bridge using a word from the conversation. Can we talk about something else for when you're ready to move on directly, and actually for redirecting the conversation in a natural, thoughtful way?
7 phrases, all super practical, all things you can start using right away.
And remember, it's not just about the words, it's about the tone, the pause, the little breath before anyway. That's what makes it sound natural.
Exactly. The words are the starting point, but the way you say them, that's the next step, and that comes with practice.
And you know what? Let's also talk for a second about some things to avoid, like common mistakes people make when trying to change the subject.
Oh, good call, because sometimes people try to change the subject, but it comes out a little abrupt.
Right, like imagine someone is telling you a story and you just jump in with something totally unrelated. No bridge, no signal, just bam, different topic.
That can feel rude, or at least confusing. The other person might think, wait, did they not hear me? Or do they just not care?
Exactly. So these phrases we've been teaching you are also about respect. You're letting the other person know, I heard you, and now I want to take us somewhere else.
That's a really good point. It's not just about vocabulary, it's about being a good conversation partner.
Totally. And another thing, don't over-apologize when you change the subject. Some people say things like, sorry, I know this is different, but, and it's a little too much.
Yeah, a simple anyway or by the way is enough. You don't need to explain yourself too much.
Just trust the phrase. It does the work for you.
And the last thing, don't be afraid to change the subject. Some people feel like they have to wait for a perfect moment, but in English conversation, there's never a perfect moment. You just do it.
You just do it with confidence and one of these phrases, and people will follow you. So let's do a quick little example conversation, just to show how a few of these can work together. Nick, talk to me about something.
Okay, so I was watching this documentary last night about deep sea fish, and they are honestly terrifying.
Oh, I can imagine. Those things look like nightmares. Anyway, deep sea or not, did you end up going to the gym this week?
That reminds me, I was going to ask you, which gym do you go to? I've been looking for a new one.
Oh, I go to the one near the park. By the way, they have a really good deal this month. I think it's half price for new members.
Oh, wow, that's actually perfect. I was just talking to my friend about that.
See? Natural, easy. We changed the subject 3 or 4 times in like 30 seconds.
And it didn't feel weird at all. It just felt like a real conversation between two people.
Because that's what it is. That's how people actually talk, with little jumps and turns and detours.
All right, I think that's a wrap for today's episode.
It is. Thank you so much for listening to English with Cheri. If you found this useful, share it with a friend who's learning English. That would honestly make our day.
And if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, leave us a comment or send us a message. We genuinely love hearing from you.
We do. Okay, so until next time, keep practicing, keep talking, and don't be afraid to change the subject once in a while.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye.